There was one meeting early in my career where I completely froze when I was talking. I still remember I completely froze. I didn't know what to talk about. And at that moment taught me a lesson that I want to share in this video with you. Over the years, even when I was like a student, I was always an introvert. Introvert in the sense that during class or during your work, I always was someone who would not raise the hand to tell the answers. I think some of you who are listening to this would also relate to that. That even though we know the answer, we try to not raise our hand and answer that. Just not sure. Maybe the fear or the embarrassment if the answer is wrong. Not sure. But unless we are picked upon, can you answer this? We try to avoid being the first one in the class. I was that person typically. So early in my career, when I was working, I was, I think, the youngest person in that meeting. I think everyone else was more experienced than me, more confident than me. They were more senior. They had more, I think, depth in what they were talking about. And just, working for many years gives you that confidence, right? So, because I was in my early career, I was youngest. So, I didn't have that much confidence, I think, when I was in that meeting. Midway through the call, like the meeting is going on, and midway during that call, someone asked me a direct question. A direct question there. I don't remember the exact question now because it was long back when I, started in my early career. But it was a direct question that somebody asked me. I knew the answer. I knew that answer, but the way it was asked, with the speed that was there, the tone that was there, a direct question, like specific question, the way it was asked, I just froze. I knew the answer. I knew the answer, but I just froze in, there are a lot of people in the room, big executives, leaders, senior people in the room, and I just could not talk because I felt if I had prepared that, for example, like, a presentation is there and we are talking through it is different than if someone just, directly asks you a question. That is something that I felt awkward with at the time, but I absolutely froze at the time. And I felt it was not about English. It was not about English because I understood what he's talking about. I knew what I wanted to answer. It was not that I didn't know English, that I could not answer that in English. It was not that problem because I knew, I was good with speaking. I understood what he was talking about. But then also I froze. I can just imagine how it would be if we don't know English as a primary language, and we are starting with our careers. But in this case as well, that even though I knew English, I understood the question, I knew what to answer, I know the answer what is there, I could not answer because I froze the way it was asked, and just the setup and the environment which was there. It was about that communication pressure. I just felt that pressure of communication was there. And when you freeze like that, your mind just goes blank, absolutely blank. Like when you freeze, there is that silence that happens in the room that starts to kill you because everyone is looking at you at the time. Everyone is looking at you. There is a silence and you are going blank. The fear mounts up by every second that is going past by. And then, I actually felt a little embarrassed at the time that even though I have the answer, I have studied so much, I have given so many presentations and all that, right? We do all these things when you are learning. The education setup is so great. But then also, I was not able to handle the situation at the time. So I felt a little embarrassed at the time. When I stepped out of that meeting, I remember when I stepped out of that meeting, I promised myself, I said, I'm never going to let the communication barrier hold me back again. And the communication barrier is not about the language. I was clear on that because I knew the language, as I said, but just the communication of, there are these different layers to communication. I said that communication barrier which is there, I'm never going to let that communication hold me back again in my entire career. Practiced a lot of things that helped me, and I'm pretty happy that these things have never repeated for me in the career. At least I didn't froze the way I did that. There are a few lessons that I learned again that I wanted to share that may be useful for anyone who has gone through this, or who may potentially go through it, because I remember how difficult it was for me at the time when this happened with me. First is, communication is not grammar. Communication is not grammar. The communication, when that happens, it was just because we froze because of the situation. We had that communication barrier at the time. That's why I froze at the time. When you are not able to answer the question at the time, it's not because we don't know the answer, or it's not about oh, I think I may be grammatically incorrect, that's why I'm not going to answer. It's fine. It's fine. There are a lot of people you would listen to who talk, in when we are talking with them, they make a lot of mistakes grammatically or otherwise, they fumble upon and everything, but it's not too bad. They are taking that effort and they are talking. We don't talk, and we if we wait for that exact moment to talk, and start that conversation, then we are in big trouble, because then everybody is listening to you, and then any words that you say about talk are going to be listened to by everyone else. Any mistake that you make is going to be compounded. So it's good if you think that it's not only about grammar. It's fine, we can make grammatical mistakes. There are things that we should know of when we are talking. If you know the answer, just go for it. It's fine if even if you make some grammatical mistakes or there are few fumbles. Number two is to slow the conversation down. I think I should have done it, right? Because the speed, the tone, and everything by which it was asked to me, I felt I could have slowed it down. I could have asked, "Hey, can you come again?" Hey, exactly. So you are asking me this. Is this precisely what you're asking about, or is this something else that you are asking me about? I'm thinking on these lines. Is this the correct way I'm interpreting this question? I can remember this situation. Do you want me to elaborate on this? Something, just slow that conversation down. We have a direct question. We know we have to give direct answer, but we have to slow that conversation down if we are not able to come up with a direct answer at that time, because that is important in a conversation. This would help you in a lot of situations, right? It happens during interviews when the question is asked and we are like, okay, what can I answer? We don't have time. We can slow that down. When you slow that down and ask questions like, can you tell this again, or oh, do you mean this? All these questions, right? Do you mean what do you mean exactly by this? This is this thing that comes to my mind about this. This is the incidents that comes to my mind, or something on those lines. Subconsciously we are thinking of the answer as well, so we are asking that question to the other person, and he's also going to answer that question. During that phase, subconsciously we have some time by which we are you know in preparing our answer, how we are going to start answering that question and all that. So it gives us leverage of starting. Otherwise, if we don't have that, then it's really tough to get started if we get stuck. So if you get stuck, remember we have to slow that conversation down. And number three, this is a crucial one, is practice in uncomfortable situations. What do I mean by that? Talking and communicating in different uncomfortable situations is different, because when you are talking with your friends, or one on one with someone, is different. It If you are talking with, say, your boss or your manager, it's different, like it is one on one, for example. If you are talking in a room with a professional setup, like senior executives or managers and all that, it's different, the way you are going to be interacting, the questions that are going to be coming up, because if those are senior level executives, every minute is important. You don't want to waste their time, so you have to prepare any question that comes, you have to approach it differently. If you are someone who becomes a manager, for example, and you have a team that you are having that conversation with, it's going to be different, because you are a leader, you are the one who is going to be driving that conversation. So it's important that you understand different situations. Now, just saying that Like for example, now when I'm talking to this camera, it's different. I may be making some mistakes. It's different than talking with someone who is in front of me, or talking with people. There are 500 people in the conference room in which I'm talking. I'm going to be approaching it differently than the way I'm approaching it now. So if you don't practice all these things in uncomfortable situations, then if that situation comes, you can never kind of go ahead in that situation or pull that off, because you have not practiced it. You have to practice it. You can never think on the lines of, okay, I'm talking like this, and if I'm going to be talking with 500 people, this is how I'm going to be this is how I will be talking. If there are 5 people, this is how I will be interacting with them. No, you have to practice it, then only you know. Like even now, I have interacted with a lot of people. This is different for me. This is the interaction that I'm doing now is different for me. If you feel something needs to change the way I'm talking, or the way the video is, please let me know in the comments, because I would also like to improve myself, because I have not done this conversation on YouTube before. So even for me, this is an uncomfortable situation. But because I'm practicing, I'm pretty sure I will be getting better the more videos I make. And at the end, I would just ask you to tell me honestly, have you ever froze in a meeting or an interview or a presentation, or in any case in which you knew the answer? In a way, you knew the answer, you knew what the answer is going to be, but you just froze in that moment. If you have that, please share that in the comments.